Okay, then let's start the lesson now. I'm going to go through very quickly some of the notes. Okay, in fact, for this particular section, okay, or shall I say that this subtopic, okay, under interaction, you have the last bit, which is man's impact on the environment. There will be a lot of discussion that your teacher will carry out with you. Okay, can you see my screen? Yeah, good. Thank you so much. Now, there'll be a lot of discussion your teacher will carry out with you. I'm going to summarize very quickly what is important. Now, you need to know that the activities of man can actually create a negative impact on our environment. How can man actually do this? Okay, these are the four main areas: depletion of natural resources, deforestation, pollution, and then global warming. So you see, we are so powerful, right? We can do such things. We can actually carry out such activities and then impact the earth. In fact, we can even destroy the world if we do not check our activities, if we do not try to make things better. Okay, so that can happen. Okay, let me just get the chat out first. Otherwise, if anybody type, then I won't be able to see. Okay. So when you have questions, you must make sure you type into the chat. Now, so under these four categories, we are going to look into further details. When we talk about the depletion of natural resources, okay, first thing we talk about will be fossil fuel. Fossil fuel actually take many, many years to form. And I'm not referring to just like 10, 20 years. Okay, this takes thousands and thousands of years to actually form. Okay, fossil fuel. Okay, the name fossil already tells you like it's like the remains of living things from long, long ago. So animals and plants, they die. Okay, no, that is not under fossil fuel. Right? Okay, Heidi, but good try. Let me just explain a bit more so you understand what I mean. Okay, fossil fuel will be like coal, yeah, will be like the natural gas. So they are actually formed from living things. It is the remains, that means the dead bodies of the living things. Okay, they are actually piled on top of each other. Okay, every time, okay, new organisms die, right? Okay, they just pile on, and the pressure that is created cause them to change into something we call fossil fuels. Now, these takes many, many years to form. So if we were to use them up, what's going to happen? Okay, if we use too quickly, use them up very fast, okay, they are going to be used up. Depleted is the word. You must remember this word, right? Fossil fuel being depleted, that means used up. It's going to take too long a time to replace any of them. So this is the coal that is formed from long, long ago. All right. Coal looks a little bit like charcoal, but charcoal doesn't burn as long as coal. One tiny piece of coal can burn for a long, long time and give us a lot of energy. Yeah, but charcoal cannot. And you know, charcoal just burns for a few hours, right? Coal burns much longer than that. So if this coal is being used up, it's going to take thousands and thousands and thousands, okay, of years for it to reform. So depletion of natural resources, we also refer to minerals, metals, as well as wood. All of these substances actually is derived from our earth. So we find them underground. Okay, minerals and most raw metals are found underground, right? So when we remove them from the ground, okay, they cannot be replaced. Trees as well, we keep cutting trees, right? To make furniture, to make paper products. Okay, sometimes we clear the land, all right, in order to have certain space, okay, for some activities. So when you cut down all the trees from the forest, what happens? All the wood will be gone. Right? It takes a long time for a huge tree to grow. Do you all know that? Okay. Okay. If you don't know, you must know. Pranati, why are you laughing? Okay, now she stopped. Suddenly so serious. Pranati, your sister is beside you. Yeah. Okay, so another one will be fish. Now, need to take note, overfishing can take place. Nowadays, you know that there are some restrictions, right? Okay, there are laws being put by governments, okay, to tell its people not to overfish. Okay, so there are even people who goes for fishing. After they have caught the fish, they are going to release it back to the sea. Okay, and I know that there are also regulations for those like fishermen, right? When they go fishing, okay, they are going to look at the fish that they have actually caught. Then, if the fish is not of a standard size, too small, they will have to release the fish back into the sea. They can only take those that are already adults, a certain size. Okay, then they can actually bring it back to land and then they can sell the fish. But if it's too small, they are supposed to put it back into the sea. So this kind of thing, a lot of people will start asking how to check. Okay, not everybody is honest, right? So it's very important, okay, to instill this kind of responsibility and awareness for everybody on earth. Every single one of us must be aware of what we can do, what we cannot do. Okay, are you all clear of this? That's why we are going through this topic also, because you are also one of the person, right, responsible for the earth. Now, you see, so let's say they keep catching the fish, right? Keep catching the fish and then selling so that humans can consume them. Okay, the fish will not be able to reproduce fast enough. Okay, and then that will lead to a case where, you know, we might even have that particular population of the fish being extinct. So there was, I think, a period of time they were concerned with sharks. Because you know that, for example, Chinese, we like to take shark fin soup, right? So every time they want the shark fins, they will have to catch the shark, cut off the fins, okay, and most of the time they just throw the injured shark back into the sea. But the shark is not going to survive. Okay, the shark is going to die. All right. Okay, so these are the things that we are trying to educate our people. So nowadays, we don't encourage consuming shark fins. There was a period of time they keep promoting other products. Okay, and it's getting more and more expensive as well. Now, the negative impact, see, is that it's going to be endangered or they will become extinct, do not exist anymore. So overfishing is one problem we can face. Deforestation, I mentioned earlier, burning down of trees, right? Okay, so that they can make more space for activities. What activities? Maybe they want to build houses. Maybe they want to build factories. Maybe they want to build farms. Okay, so you can actually see cases where I think Indonesia, they usually will carry out certain form of forest burning, right? Okay, forest burning in certain parts of the year. And that is also when we start to experience some haze. You know, how many of you still remember the haze from many years back? All right, have you heard of haze before? Nobody heard of haze before? Okay, it's so bad that we can't even see, you know, then we can't even breathe properly. Every time you breathe in, you are breathing in something burning. Okay, and then there's a lot of dust on the vehicles, on the ground, even at homes. Okay, so this period of burning down trees is actually for the Indonesian farmers to plant their crops. That's what they do. So they clear the forest to plant their crops. Any question here? No, right? So what happens when deforestation takes place? Now, there are animals staying in the forest. So when we burn down the trees, right, these animals will lose their home. They become very exposed to danger because now predators can hunt them easily. Okay, they don't even have a proper place to rest. Okay, so they eventually can die. All right. And then another problem, when you remove all the trees, now the soil doesn't have any protection. Because usually the roots will hold the soil in place, right? But then when we remove all the trees, this cannot happen anymore. So when the rain comes, soil erosion will happen. Okay, so the soil is then washed into the water bodies. The rivers and the lakes then become muddy and polluted. Right, so what will happen to those animals that are living in the rivers and the lakes? Okay, they are all going to die. Even plants. Plants living in the water body cannot get any light, isn't it? If you look at this kind of water filled with so much mud, how can the plants get any light? Light cannot pass through at all. Right? So the plants die. The animals also die. Okay? Animals die because they can't get food. Because the plants die, there's no more food for them. So haze, I mentioned earlier, this is how it will look like. Right? So what can haze do to us? It causes irritation to the eyes. It leads to breathing difficulties, and then your respiratory system is damaged. Now, burning down of the trees also creates a lot of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Can you see the words in bold? Okay, the words in bold are important, right? Greenhouse gas. It traps heat within the atmosphere. So if there's a lot of carbon dioxide in our air, right, you will find that it is very, very hot. Your atmosphere will be very, very hot because carbon dioxide traps heat. And that will lead to global warming. Heard of global warming? I think you must have heard about it. Yeah. So I think Earth Day, the teacher in charge would have also told you some things about global warming, right? Yeah. Okay, this is like close to the last part already. Pollution. You learn about land pollution, air pollution, and water pollution. So what is actually pollution? Okay, the definition of pollution will be when harmful or unwanted substances are actually released into the environment. Okay, these harmful substances, we call them the pollutant. Okay, the pollutants are those that causes pollution. Okay, three main ones you need to know. Okay, first one, land pollution. When there's a lot of littering, okay, or when too many of the materials or products that are not able to be broken down easily, okay, they are going to take up a lot of space, okay, and then they're going to pile up. Sometimes they catch fire. So these are the problems that can happen. So look at this awful state. Okay, so many plastics. All right, see the plastics here. This looks very old. It has been there for a long, long time. Why is it that they are still there for a long time? Because, okay, plastics. Can you remember this word? Anybody heard of this word before? Plastics are non-biodegradable. That means they cannot be broken down. Yes, Joshua?
You asked anybody heard of the term non-biodegradable, and I just raised my hand to say yes.
Right, you did. That's wonderful. Okay, so non-biodegradable, they cannot be broken down easily. Okay, they cannot be broken down easily by bacteria. Okay, not like the other ways that we are talking about. Okay, so they will remain on Earth for a long, 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 long time. If today you go and bury a piece of plastic, okay, somewhere, okay, 10 years later, okay, maybe not 10 years, 10 years you wouldn't remember. You go and look at that piece of plastic 1, 2 years later, 3 years later, it's still going to be there. It takes a long, 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 long time for it to be broken down. Okay, that's the meaning, non-biodegradable. Water pollution, if let's say we throw unwanted substances into the sea, into the rivers, into the lakes, what happens? Okay, water pollution will be resulted. Now, it's not just about throwing our waste. Even the pesticides or the fertilizers, or let's say it's chemicals from the factories, The moment they enter the water bodies, it's known as